Real quick before we begin this video, I just want to announce that I'm going to be doing a giveaway very soon, which is that I see a lot of comments lately saying, holy heck, Dreamcastguy, this channel is blowing up. And honestly, I'm still just kind of, I don't know, I'm sort of just blown away by it. I'm a random guy. I have no college experience. I don't really do anything special. I mean, I was just a random Walmart employee who used to shelve dog food, and now here I am. I honestly think that I'm one of the luckiest people on the planet, and I want to actually pass that back to you. So going forward, every 10,000 subscribers this channel gets, so every like 160,000, 170,000, 180,000 subscribers, I'm going to do a random giveaway of a Nintendo Switch, an Xbox One, or a PS4. Basically, everybody who's subscribed will be entered into a drawing, and basically I'll just select somebody and you can tell me what system you want. Or maybe I'll just buy you a bunch of games if that's what you want. But it's something I'll do, and I'll announce the winners to keep it all super transparent. Sound good? Alright, now let's dig into the actually juicy topic today, which is, do gamers really know what they want? Are we able to really communicate with game developers in a clear and concise manner? What's up gamers, Dreamcastguy here, and today I've been inspired by this really ridiculous article that's kind of floating all over the place that's called Game Developers, It's Time to Stop Listening to the Fans by VG247. This is a ridiculous website that does some good work and some crazy garbage. And I'll be honest, I think that this falls into the crazy garbage category. But essentially, the main point that this guy was trying to make in his article is the idea is that fan feedback is such a mixed bag. We have so many weird fan petitions where people get upset about the faces in Mass Effect Andromeda, the ending of Mass Effect 3 having to be completely rewritten, or the people who are trying to actually get certain games pulled off storefronts just because they don't like them, like what ended up happening with the DMC Devil May Cry. Okay, let me just be clear, I don't agree with this article. In fact, I'll actually say that I think that gamers in general are some of the most vocal, they're the best at giving feedback, it's just that there's so much of it. Something that really comes to mind is I'm a huge fan of Left 4 Dead. I think the Left 4 Dead games are probably some of the best co-op experiences ever, but also they're just good horror shooters, right? Well, when you're playing Left 4 Dead 2, there is an option to play through the levels with absolutely no zombies, and instead just get director's commentary. As you run around the levels, there will be these little boxes you can click and a voice will tell you about how they made it. And something I've always been very fascinated about is one of the developers said something that is so important, which is that sometimes gamers don't understand why something is wrong, but they can tell you that it's wrong. The example he used is, if they didn't make it where the zombies walked in a perfectly jittery pattern, they would actually complain that they felt off. And basically the developers could look at this and go, okay, thousands of people are saying that this isn't right, but they don't understand how it's wrong. And so, since there's such a talented development team, they were able to take this scattershot feedback and concisely correct. They were able to take these random comments and little posts and turn it into a dramatic improvement that made the game scarier, it makes the game better, and it makes the overall aesthetic of the world make more sense. Gamers in general, I think, are very interesting because we're empowered. We have a voice. In these experiences, we are the hero. And I genuinely mean that is that I think that gamers are in a weird part because we like to play. We like to win. We like to improve. But more importantly, we like to try and figure out how we can make things even better. This can be both very good, but also have some very random downsides, which is that, I mean, you gotta think, all of the thousands and thousands of people just screaming out into the void of the internet, somebody has to read that. Somebody's job is to actually read every single comment about Call of Duty. They're called brand managers. These people literally sit there all day long and read, hey, this gun sucks. Hey, this part of the freaking map is overpowered. And I think that being able to properly digest that and give that feedback to the development team so they can prove it is something that it seems like not everybody can do. There are certain teams that are able to actually properly improve stuff, and then there's people that just kind of break under the pressure. I mean, something that I've always thought was very interesting is way back in the day, there was obviously the Game Gear, right? This was created purely to try and compete with the Game Boy. A lot of people that were big Sega fanboys were enjoying playing Sonic everywhere and just loving a lot of those adventures, but they were very clear in voicing the idea of, hey, we want to have something that can compete with the Game Boy itself, and so they got this. But then a lot of 90s gamers were very clear in writing letters and stuff and saying, this is nice, but we want something even better than the Game Boy. We want something that's not just little bite-sized experiences. We want the consoles on the go. So they actually created that. Sega made the Sega Nomad. This is a portable Sega Genesis that you could play anywhere. And it's kind of freaking impressive that they managed to take such a random idea and really craft it. They managed to take such a difficult concept that is years ahead of its time and actually mold it into a physical idea. Sometimes this works. I do want to say, completely though, there is obviously a bad side to fan feedback. There is some stuff out there that happens that is just, I mean, in my opinion, it's evil. Something that really comes to mind when it comes to toxic fan feedback is certainly the stuff involving No Man's Sky. Now, personally, I am still not the biggest fan of this. I actually think that they kind of ripped off fans at launch. A lot of people were very, very upset, making entire lists of features that were missing. But the big issue is, not only were people giving proper and concise criticism, there was a separate group that was just sending death threats. I mean, they literally found bot accounts that were just spamming incredibly aggressive, angry threats all day long at Sean Murray. That is not how you fix the game. That is not how you actually improve stuff. That is how you get artists to seize up. Now, I'm just going to make an analogy here. I am obviously just a YouTuber. I am nobody special. I don't have any real talents. I'm not really doing anything nearly as impressive as crafting a digital world. But even still, I am a creator. I'm trying to make stuff that you're going to want to watch and share and like and subscribe and all that, right? I mean, that's just the fun of YouTube, is trying to grow and trying to expand and trying to improve, which means that I read a lot of comments. I mean, I sit down every day and try and just absorb as much as possible. But what's weird is that with thousands of comments every single day, you're going to get a huge range of feedback from Dreamcastguy, I absolutely hate your thumbnails, to Dreamcastguy, you're the best guy ever. And sometimes I get stuff like, this is a real personal story, and I won't reveal any of the exact information, but somebody actually wrote me a letter that they were using my videos in a suicide program for children, where basically these real young adults were trying to basically find a way to talk to each other. They were very, very locked up mentally, and they started showing them my videos, and they'd be like, how would Dreamcast deal with this? Like, how would Dreamcastguy actually socialize in this? And they broke down a lot of mental barriers by giving all the kids in the group something to talk about. Even if it was just my cheesy face and my over-enthusiastic love of stuff like the Game Boy, it gave the kids a familiar topic, and they ended up calling the group Keep Dreaming. And I think that's the thing that I think is, when it comes to feedback, it's so difficult to try and find a singular voice. When you're reading so much of the internet, when you're just trying to digest a fire hose of water every single day, it is a lot to take in. But really, I think more than anything, it actually makes me respect the skilled game developers even more. The people who are actually able out there on the front lines to take the criticism, to take the feedback, and to grow and grow and grow. I mean, to me personally, I feel like a great example of this is this year with what's going on with Mortal Kombat 11. Initially, when it came out, the crypt was incredibly weird. It was incredibly messy, but they've tried to improve it. They've tried to make it not only a good fighting game, but in general, perhaps the game of the year. Ed Boon and his team have realized we've got something special. We have a real gem. And if we can actually round out the couple rough edges, this will be something that'll be remembered and played for years to come. Being able to walk that line between artist and creator, to walk that line between somebody who is just building kingdoms versus the person whose job it is to rule that kingdom, is a weird mix. It is just not a skill that every single team can handle, and that's why I actually respect the people even more who are able to handle it. So just circling back real quick and looking at this title again, game developers, it's time to stop listening to the fans. This is absolutely false. Are there people out there that are jerks? Are there people out there that are absolutely morons? Yes. But for the most part, gamers just want to win. Gamers just want to make sure they can buy the most epic thing possible and to play it for hours and hours and hours. Is that a bad thing? Absolutely not. I mean, look at what's going on with Cyberpunk 2077. Everything that comes out, people are very, very clear about what's good, what works, what needs to be freaking done, and the freaking developers are making it a Witcher 3 in the future. That is going to rule when we play it next year. But these have just been my random off-the-cuff thoughts. Have you ever actually tried to send direct feedback to a developer? Has there ever been anything that you thought was super, super cool because it's a change that you wanted implemented? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, share it with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all and keep dreaming. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.